So I was thinking about this quote by Camus about life. And it's like if you're living your life you're trying to find meaning in your life, then you really are not living. We as star seeds in this life now as in a human form, living many lives simultaneously, are always wondering, is this the life for me? Do I stay here? Do I go? It's like death, it seems to be like you're settling. It's like, okay, well, I want to die. So then you settle for death and you don't really live. And I was thinking, you know, uh, I'm reading this book, The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. It's really interesting about how she has been, Nora is the person in this book. She's been wanting to die forever, like, and she comes across in one of her overdoses to this lady, Mrs. Elm or Miss Elm, and she's a librarian and playing chess and she asks her, it's like, am I dead? I just want to die. No, I don't. And so the librarian tells her, you know, there's all kinds of lives you can try on. Pretty much the books are here. They you can choose one, try it on. If you don't like that one, you can choose another book and another book and so she tries these different lives where, her cat's not, you know, dead outside. Or, she wants to go back to the life where her cat's still alive. And then she has all these regrets that Miss Elm shows her. Hey, this is the book of your regrets. Look into it and see what you want to change, right? So throughout the whole book, she tries to get rid of the regrets. One of them is, oh, I should have married Dan. That would have been great. Because she had broken up with him because she didn't want to have a marriage with him and live in a pub, meaning like like a bar and grill. In other places, it could be like a bed and breakfast, whatever the case was. So she was regretting in her root life, we'll say, because we do have a root life, right? And she was regretting that she didn't marry him. So she ends up going to this life where she is married to him and she helped him to fulfill his lifelong dream of having a pub. And well, they were miserable. Then there's another time where she wants to be an Olympic swimmer because, she feels that when she was like 12, she told her dad in her root life that she didn't never wanted to be a swimmer and that she was quitting, because she didn't want to please him. Um, so then she goes back to the other life where she is an Olympic swimmer and she's very famous and she gives TED Talks and she's written a book. It's called the chapter there is called Fame. But she realizes that she's living her life for her dad and not for her. Although her body is, you know, really beautiful, she says, she has a flat stomach, she's muscular, very athletic. She can do forever planks and push-ups and sit-ups with no pain, things like that. I was like, man, I want to go live that life without pain, right? Um, so then she says, you know what? I want to live in the Arctic. I want to study the glacials, the ice glacials, and a glycologist. I think that's what they're called. So she wants to do that, and she goes, and She's studying why is it that the ice glaciers hum only there, in that specific place, in the Arctic. And to me, I was like, because there's a portal there, I was being all silly in my mind. I'm like, well, they're humming and they're vibrating because there's a freaking vortex there, a portal, that exits life. And I was all like answering their questions in the book, like if I was talking to Nora, and how, you can exit through there and well, and they're like, well, why are the glaciers melting? Well, and then in my head I was like, because Harp's doing it, like, being all sassy about it, and like, and I'm like, oh my gosh, sometimes knowledge, like you think you know everything, but then you don't know everything. Like Socrates says, when you think you know it all, you don't know anything at all. But so she's encounters this bear because she has to be what they call a spotter that day. And she encounters a bear, and she doesn't know what to do. She's like trying to shoot it, it doesn't work. The flare gun goes somewhere else, the flare thing goes somewhere else, and then what she does is she has to get this pot or whatever and just hit it until, and tells the bear to go away. The bear just keeps coming at her, and all of a sudden he just changes his mind and leaves. um so she's, when the bear's coming at her, she's like, well, I don't really want to die. She realizes, I don't want to die. And so then she talks to this guy, his name is Hugo, and they're talking about how it's an infinite number of universes that we live, multiverses, we have different lives, and you can try on any life. But when you decide to die, then that's it, you're done. That's basically what the excuse me, what the librarian tells her. And he tells her, yeah, in one life we've known each other for years and we're married, he said. And then in most lives I don't know you at all. She encountered now staring straight at him, they kiss, they make love, and it's like, well, and then she's like, I don't want to be here. Like, I guess the sex wasn't good or whatever it says here. Yeah, it says page 153. But the sex turned out to be a disappointment. A campus quote came to her right in the middle of it. I may not have been sure about what really did interest me, but I was absolutely sure about what didn't. So, I always tell people, because they ask me, well, how do you know like what your life purpose is? And I'm like, well, I'm still trying to find that out. I said, all I know is that I had a near death experience. I died and I came back. I slay some. I always tell people, well, apparently I went to hell because I slayed all these demons, what they call demons. And they were on my in my room and floor and on my machines. And then I looked at a light that was around my door there in the hospital, and I'm like, shit, well, I gotta find a nurse or doctor. Tell me where the hell I am, Where am I? Am I in hell? Am I in heaven? And I open, the door, nobody's there, and then I'm back in my room and there's my dad in the corner. And, you know, he's like, you gotta go back. And that's what you know, like in this book, Nora would be in the library, I was with my dad. So because our mind can't like really, our mind has to make sense of things, and it's just, I'm still trying to figure out this life. I know sometimes I'm in the in between. Like the other day I had a memory, and I had to call Jessica Morocco, and I told Power Lady too. It's like, oh my gosh, because I was like shaking. I was like, what the fuck? Like I gotta call Jessica. So I called her. I'm like, hey, I just remembered something. I was getting down from the World War II. I was in World War II, a female naval officer. I had my skirt, uniform, and my hat. I had my back, my well, it's not a backpack, but it's the bag that we carried back in the days on me, and and then I had my boyfriend with me. We were both in the Navy, and we were just done. We were done with World War II, and then later on, I'm saving this little child. It's a little girl, and I'm saving this little girl. She's running in front of me. She's so happy. I cut some of her hair because it had some ribbons and long hair, and it was kind of like if I it had oil in her hair, and I was trying to hide it. And this girl, she she caught whiff of it. She took some, smelled it, and took it away. And she's like, she was evil. I can tell she was evil. And she's like, I'm gonna go tell that you have this child, you know. And so I run with the child. She had on like anywhere she would go, she would turn things into like an amber color, real pretty. She had on like a white dress, and I changed it, and I got her some clothes, and then I took her to who I saw in my recall was Peter the Insider. What I saw is that he was um in Las Vegas in the really really high tower there where Elvis was. If you see the new Elvis movie where he lived pretty much. And so anyway, I saw Peter the Insider, and he was like behind this yellow glass, and he was still protected, behind this. It was like a building that was protecting him inside this thing, like a compound, but up in the air in one of the high rises. And so I stood in front of him and the little girl. I said, "Hey, we have to stand at attention here." And then the little girl didn't listen to me. She ran around the yellow, what is it, glass, and she gave him a hug. And he said, "Oh, I should do these more often, these interviews, or I should do this more often," he said, like meaning I should let the kids come and hug me or whatever. So anyway, I explained what happened, that I had to leave her there. And I know that Peter 2 years ago when he gave me my records had said that I was Commando 374, and that's part of Kruger. Um, so anyway, it's kind of interesting, these recalls that I've been having. And so I left the little girl there, and I went to this warehouse, excuse me, kind of a place. The war had ended, like I said, and they had everything in these like um, different buildings all stacked up, these boxes of things. And for some reason, I got talcum powder for her, and I said, "What else does she need?" So I was looking, and I was looking at these little small boxes with little small units in there. Like, okay, is she needing for me to give portion out of food? I don't know. So I was leaving, and then these two men came up to me, and they said they had my boyfriend. They had my boyfriend from, we had just, like I said, ended our tour for World War II in the Navy. And he was in a huge brown sack. They had him in a brown sack, and I woke up crying. And the day before that, right as I'm waking up, I remember my mom giving me a black and white photo of me and my boyfriend. She goes, "¿Te acuerdas cómo estabas en el Navy?" She goes, "Remember you were in the Navy?" And I'm like, "Oh, wow, yeah, I remember." And I was looking at the picture, and it was me and my boyfriend, getting down from the ship. And I was drinking a root beer float. I was so happy. My hair was reddish blonde, like the sun color. And I was just so happy. Um, what I find interesting is that we are in between. Some of us star seeds are in the in between. Like, we live so many lives here. And I changed my timeline. I know I did because 2 days ago, something told me, my mind, my inner self said, "Go to Goodwill." I'm like, dude, I only have like $10, till next month. What am I gonna do? Like, seriously, you want me to go to myself? And I'm like, fine. So I went, and I found my vault. I've been looking for my vault forever. I did an interview with Fire Horse, and we did an interview on coffin girls, like a coffin. Well, I call it my sarcophagus, my traveling vault. Um, and it said 1928-K from Austin, Texas, originally. And then the last time it was used, because the other things were scraped off, so the only thing that I found was the last time it was used, it was June 9th, 1967. And I I also had a breakthrough 2 days before that, before I found my case or my vault or my coffin, whatever you want to call it, sarcophagus. And Power Lady helped me. This is personal, and I think it'll help people. So I, she asked me why are you so mad if your dad took his life? And I'm like, because he left me alone. He left me and my sisters alone. And so I had to take over that father figure, that protector for my sisters and even for my mother, because she was in so many bad relationships that I had to call cops all the time on her on the man. So um and the question was, where are you right now? And she made me think, well, yeah, where am I right now? Where are your sisters? Where are your family? Right? And I'm like, yeah, you're right. They are where they want to be. Like no matter how much I want to help them or other people around me, they're gonna do what they're gonna do. They're gonna do what they want because it's their life. And she made me see that it was my turn to live my life. This is the life that I'm living right now, even though when I go to sleep or I have visions, I have deja vu, I come back. Because there is such a thing as, and even this book talks about it, like you'll be talking to somebody and then you're like, what the fuck was I saying? Wait, what happened? Like you totally forget what you're saying. That's because you left. Like you left to go to another dimension, to go live another life. And like Hugo was telling Nora, they were in the kitchen and in the ship, and they're like, "Hey, well, that was crazy about the bear today, huh?" And she was like, "Yeah, like I actually didn't want to die anymore. I wanted to live." And he goes, "Well, what if you leave right now?" Because he's also a slider, an in between, right? He's the one that says, "Why should I settle for death? I can live all these lives, right?" And then he explains to her, "You can be talking right now, and you could leave. You could actually, literally leave." And the next question would be from Nora would be to Hugo would be, "Well, what was I talking about?" I find it very interesting. Sometimes also like when you're yawning and you don't know why you're yawning and you're having a conversation with someone, sometimes I feel like we just leave. We're like, all right, gotta go, experience another life and another life. But this here is our root life. For example, I'm still at the hospital in the in between. I don't know if I'm gonna live or die, right? Obviously, I'm here. I died for the 3 days, and I was there for a month and a half, and I still have more memories that I haven't shared with you guys, but those are like very personal. Those are just for me. I don't have to share them. But so many recurring, what people call recurring dreams or recurring deja vus. I have those, and I know you guys do too. So it's because we're either remembering something from our past lives, or I don't really like to call them past lives because we're actually living like all of our lives simultaneously. And there really is no time. And they're like, Hugo was telling Nora, it's like when when you're looking at your watch and the minute ticker, like when it goes from 1 second to another, your eyes can't really see the in between. It's like your mind can't like, hey, what happened? Like there's like a fuzzy in between, like your mind can't comprehend. So quantum frequency, quantum wavelength. Um, we are frequency, and we are living pretty much different frequencies, different lives, I guess you could say. So, I just wanted to come on to just tell you, this book is really helping me. It's called The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I've been wanting to write a book about my life, but I'm like, well, this guy's pretty much on point about what happened to me. So, when I was a kid, all I wanted to do was play. And right when the incident happened, when my dad took his life, I was 13. I couldn't wait to leave my house. I ran away when I was 14, ran away again when I was 17, 16 actually, 14, 16, and 17. And then I just, I just couldn't wait to grow up and do my own life, And now it's like all I got is time. And I don't know if you guys remember this Twilight Zone. It's been on my mind every fucking day, like ever since I saw it. I don't know what the name of the episode is, but there's this man that what happens is Earth is like no more. Like there was a nuclear war, and this guy is left with all these books. He's in a library, and at the end, all he has is time, and he mistakenly um, breaks his glasses. Something happens where his glasses break, and he's crying because he's like, "Oh my gosh, like, how am I gonna read now?" And I'm like, "Oh, you don't need glasses to read. You know what I'm saying? You can just use your cat eyes, what I call your cat eyes." But for me, that is like all I have is time. It's like, and I've been reading, and I won't turn on my phone today. I didn't turn it on at all. Um, I don't want to feed that AI spider web anymore. I don't want to feed like, yeah, I have all these platforms and stuff and you do too, you know. And yeah, I know I got to put some stuff up, but just because I don't put anything up in my story or anything doesn't mean that I don't love you guys or I don't care for you guys. It's I don't need to be addicted to this phone where you get zapped. It's like, oh my gosh, you turn it on and it zaps you. You turn it off and it zaps you. You send a message and it zaps you. Um, I don't want to live like that. Everybody is, my friend Celeste said the other day, Celeste Chaparro, she said, everybody is in their prison's phone. Like everybody's in prison in their cell phone. And I don't want to live like that. I choose not to. And if I don't answer, if I don't answer your call, or if I, it doesn't mean I don't love you. It doesn't mean I'm not thinking of you. Um, and it's the thing of it is you guys have to, we all have to live our own life. Like what's happening is with, you can have like 1,500 friends online, but what happens is they're online. You miss the person to person, the touch, the talk, the person, the face to face. That's what I noticed that I miss a lot is the face to face. Why is that? Because you're being stimulated on your phone all the time. And it's like, oh my gosh, well, how come like it's pretty much in cyberspace. Half of it is fake anyway, most of it. I'd say 90%. I mean, you don't even know the person until you meet them in front, you know? So another thing that I was thinking about today is like, why are you giving your energy to these people that don't care? They don't really care about you. At the end of the day, they only care about themselves. So you're over here expending so much energy to be accepted by this person, or maybe you're needy, maybe because you don't have that many friends, or you're just stuck on social media that you have to call this person like every day or text this person every day because you feel lonely. It's happened to me. It's happened to me before, and it's like you got to understand something. They have a life too. They can't just be there on your beck and call. You can't just make shit up, or not make shit up. How do you say that? You can't have your mind make up stuff for you to draw drama, to make some kind of need in order for you to call that person every fucking day. You know, that also comes from codependency. I grew up with an alcoholic mom and dad, and they were codependent on each other. And then we became codependent on them, and then they would fight, and then us sisters would fight, and we would have to have something go on every day, or else we didn't feel like we were alive or needed. Like we didn't feel important. If my mom didn't yell at me, I didn't feel important. I don't want to live like that anymore. And also I've been reading, oh my gosh, I read this in college, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And one of the things that I learned a long, long time ago as a kid is let your word, the first agreement, be impeccable. Let your word be your truth. You know, there's another agreement that says, who cares what people think? Don't take life personal. Don't take shit personal, man. I'm learning not to take stuff personal. There are these little cliques online, the New Age community, Love and Life community, the Secret Space program. Well, in all of my lives that I know of, I was either military or secret space. But there's always that I've made an analogy of all my lives. I've been either in the military or in space, right? My root life is military and police. So no matter what life I'm in, I have some aspect of that. That will always be part of me. Um, so this whole worshiping of idols of, oh, you're a super soldier, Veronica, I love you, I praise you. Don't fucking praise me, dude. I'm just a person. I'm just living this life right now with you guys. I may be your hologram. Maybe tomorrow I won't exist in your life. Maybe you won't exist in mine in a week. And don't take it personal. Live your life. All right, guys. I love you guys. And oh yeah, so my neighbor, because I don't watch the news, my neighbor is like, hey, I saw her like about 6:30 p.m. or so today. She's like, I was walking Lola. She was walking her dog and she's like, hey, did you hear about that submarine that went down? They can't find it. And I'm like, seriously? I go, the first thing that popped into my head is like, because they were like looking for the Titanic and shit. I'm like, first of all, you don't know about the Titanic. The Titanic was not even the Titanic. They changed the names, and the Titanic, they sent these rich people, which was not the Titanic. Like I said, it's another name of a ship, of a summer, a ship. Yeah. And they made sure that that ship went down because they had very famous people that knew secrets and were about to tell secrets, right? Kind of like JFK. Why did the CIA assassinate JFK? Because he had all these secrets and he was about to tell the world about them and shit. So did Marilyn Monroe. She knew about them. So they took her out. Anyway, she said, yeah, they have a submarine that's been lost. And I'm like, they're not going to find it. They went down on purpose. I said, I'm pretty sure it was probably the elite that wanted to get out of this earth, into another one. They wanted to leave through that vortex, through the vortex. So that's just my thing. I try not to take things so seriously nowadays. I shout out to Power Lady and Celeste, Jessica. Thanks, you guys. My kids, of course, my family. But I'm learning to live my life now, and I don't care what people say. I don't. I'm not here to babysit you. I'm not here to spoon feed you. I'm here. Yes, I'm gonna love you, but and be here for you as I can, but as I can because I'm here for me first. Okay. I don't want to be that kind of friend that's always on you, like, hey, why haven't you called me? Why haven't you texted me? I don't want to be that mother that's always on their kids, like, how come you haven't called me today? What, you don't have a mother? Like my mom, she'll say that, like, if I don't talk to her. You no tienes madre, like, you don't have a mom, like, you know what I mean? It's like we gotta stop being needy as a society. Stop being on your phone all the time. It's okay to not have everyone's attention all the time. It's a pecking order. It's like hacking programs, like in the movie The Matrix. You're trying to hack your other friend. You're trying to hack your family. You're trying programs, hacking programs. Think about it. The thought forms. This war is about thought forms. This is a battlefield of the mind, a battlefield for your soul, a battle for your soul. God wars or dog wars that I talk about. It's about who can take your energy the most wins. They don't give a fuck about you at the end. They just want your energy. So beware of energy vampires. And with that, I leave you for now. Have a great night. Thanks for listening.